we've got a lot to talk about, but let's talk about the climate accord first. And before I do, let me preface it with this article that came out the middle of last week, where the Vatican has now got a document that they put out saying the Jews don't need Christ to be saved. Yes, the Jews can secure eternal salvation, says the Vatican, without converting to Christianity. The report unequivocally states that the church should not actively seek to convert Jews to Christianity. No, what you need to do is you need to convert them to climate socialists, because that's what we're hearing this entire weekend. We have saved the world. We're on the path to save the world. We were at the brink. We were all about to burst into flames, but we have now pulled this back by applying this religion of climatology. And you know what it's going to require? It's going to require massive indulgences paid to the crony climatists. That's what it's going to involve. It's going to be trillions upon trillions of dollars paid to people like Al Gore and Bill Gates, and they have the biggest grins on their faces. They cannot wipe those grins out. Here's the good news, though. When we look at this agreement, there were a couple of different options that they had. And quite frankly, I thought they were going to go for the full-on option of having an international climate court that was going to review it. It's actually called the International Climate Justice Tribunal that would be run by the United Nations. And, of course, Obama was pushing very hard. He said, we need to have teeth in this. We need to have an enforcement mechanism. We need to have penalties. And so question is, if you've got penalties, you're going to have some kind of globalist governance that is going to assess those penalties and that is going to take the money for those penalties, a kind of global police. And they're still talking about that. Understand, that is still on the table, but it's not in this agreement. So that's very good that Obama failed to get that enforcement mechanism. And as they point out, when CNN looks at it, and a lot of these activists who were going around Paris wearing polar bear suits. I saw picture after picture after picture of people in polar bear suits holding up homeless signs. Another group of people in polar bear suits, and the Guardian had the caption underneath all these people wandering around in polar bear suits. Experts explain climate change, and I was like, okay, yeah, that looks like the experts. As far as I'm concerned, they're a bunch of clowns dressed in polar bear suits. But anyway, they point out in CNN, they say this is short on specifics, such as how the plan will be enforced or how improvements will be measured. They've come up with some concrete goals, but if you look at the agreement, at the very bottom of it, it says that countries can withdraw from this agreement in 3 years. And, of course, it is not binding if it's not a treaty. And the Obama administration is pretending that it is not a treaty because they know they're not going to get this thing through the Senate. So it's kind of interesting how this is working out. But, of course, now Bernie Sanders is not impressed by this at all. He's one of the people who is wringing his hands. He's not happy with what's going on because, you know, Bernie Sanders has the only true solution to this: destroy our economy with socialism. If you destroy the economy with socialism, you know, kind of Mao's Cultural Revolution, everything will be just fine. We can all go back to hoeing things by hand with wooden plows. And, of course, you won't be able to have livestock because livestock farting is just that's going to destroy the earth as well, according to them. You know, consider the fact of that they said that livestock, the things that we eat, okay, 14.5% of their unicorn gases are created by that, equivalent to the amount of unicorn gases that come out of all of the automobiles, all the planes, all the ships, all the transportation. So you add those two up, that's about 29%. And Bernie Sanders wants us to get down 40% reduction. So we got to get rid of all of our animals. We got to get rid of all of our transportation. And then we got to still do something. We're going to still have to do something. And so I guess what we could do is we could reduce the population. That's where these people always go, isn't it? See, you're the problem because you breathe out carbon dioxide. And, of course, they can't admit that God created a resilient world system here, a closed-loop system, whereas we breathe out carbon dioxide, it makes the plants grow faster. They absorb that. They emit oxygen. It's a resilient system. Yes, we can damage it, but it is very resilient by design.